Let's explore these mysteries together in today's video. Saving the cave. Tens of thousands of years ago, when glaciers still covered much of Europe, the land that is now southern France once stretched all the way to the sea, rising hundreds of meters above today's waterline. In that distant era, a natural cave took shape, its entrance perched on a coastal cliff more than 300 feet above the water. This cave is now known as Casca, a place that today lies submerged beneath the Mediterranean Sea, the victim of rising sea levels that followed the end of the last ice age. Around 33,000 years ago, ancient humans set foot in Casca, turning the cave into a destination devoted entirely to art. Here, they left behind a legacy of wall paintings, images that are among the oldest and most unique archaeological treasures in existence. Unlike many other caves where evidence of long-term habitation has been found, Casca seems to have served as a kind of primitive studio. There are no traces of everyday life here, only works of art carved and painted directly onto the stone. Over thousands of years, global climate changes caused sea levels to rise by nearly 140 m, drowning most of the Casca cave system beneath the waves. Today, the only way in lies more than 36 m below the surface, turning access into a formidable challenge. The ancient artists once entered freely on dry land, but modern researchers need specialized diving equipment, facing real risks just to reach the surviving paintings. The discovery of Casca was anything but smooth. Between 1985 and 1991, several groups of amateur divers risked everything to explore the cave before its existence was officially announced. In just 6 years, 3 divers lost their lives after becoming lost in the underwater labyrinth and running out of air. These tragedies forced Henry Casca, the cave's discoverer, to report the find to the authorities so that the site could be protected and properly studied. From the very beginning, Casca stirred controversy among French archaeologists. Some of the country's most respected scholars questioned the authenticity of the artwork, especially since most of the cave had disappeared beneath the sea. However, careful scientific studies have confirmed that 229 images still survive on the upper cave walls, preserved in high chambers that the water hasn't reached. These works depict 13 species of large animals that once roamed the Mediterranean during the Ice Age. From horses and wild cattle to fish and seabirds, researchers have also recorded 69 handprints created with mineral pigment, some clearly belonging to children, along with numerous geometric signs and stylized human figures, all drawn in a style that marks the earliest European art. Casca's true significance goes far beyond the number and diversity of its images. This is the only known cave in the world that has preserved ancient art beneath sea level. Yet the survival of these masterpieces now faces a new threat from modern climate change. In recent years, rising seas have advanced further into the cave, slowly eroding what remains of the artwork. Shifting temperatures and humidity, along with the dissolving of salt and minerals in the seawater, have only accelerated the site's deterioration. To counter this threat, French scientists and heritage experts have moved quickly to introduce protective measures. One of the most notable efforts has been the construction of a life-sized replica of Casca in Marseilles. This allows the public to view hundreds of original artworks from ancient handprints to depictions of animals and abstract symbols, without putting the endangered site itself at further risk of vanishing forever beneath Mediterranean. Casca stands as a vivid testament to the effects of climate change throughout human history and poses important questions about the future of heritage preservation in a world of rapid environmental transformation. The story of Costa is not only a record of our ancestors' creativity, but also a reminder of the urgent need to safeguard humanity's shared memory against the challenges of a new age. The art of letter locking, when correspondence was still a privilege reserved for the nobility, scholars, and those who held key roles in European courts. The art of letter locking emerged as a method of security every bit as sophisticated as any modern encryption system. Far more than simply folding a sheet of paper, letter locking was a practiced art. It relied on a series of folds, cuts, creases, the threading of string, or the application of wax seals, all with the singular purpose of keeping the contents safe from prying eyes. Ancient documents show that this technique was widely used across Europe from the 13th to the 18th century, spanning all social classes and appearing in everything from political dispatches and court orders to secret wartime messages and private love letters. Envelopes were not used. Instead, the letter itself was folded into multiple layers, its edges tucked and interlocked, sometimes secured with a thread or stamped with a personal wax seal at a critical juncture, creating a self-locking mechanism. One wrong move when opening the letter would leave a clear, irreversible trace, instantly revealing if anyone had tampered with or secretly read its contents. Scientifically, letter locking represented a perfect union between applied mechanics and the social psychology of the medieval world. The mechanics ensured that every letter could only be opened in one specific way, while the psychological aspect lay in the knowledge that anyone who broke the seal or disturbed the structure would be discovered, facing consequences to their reputation or even the law. Some forms of letter locking incorporated double encryption, requiring the recipient to know how to decode the folds or untie hidden knots to access the message without destroying its seal. The discovery of hundreds of ancient letters in European national archives has clarified the crucial role of letter locking as a protective layer of information in an age before modern cryptography. Each letter stands as proof of intellectual ingenuity, creativity, and a constant anxiety over the safety of private information. This technique not only reflects the mindset of security in the Middle Ages, but also illustrates how the need for secret communication has always driven the evolution of information technology from the locked letter to today's complex codes. The mystery of the unfinished obelisk in Aswan, Egypt. In the ancient quarries of Aswan in southern Egypt, the unfinished obelisk remains where it was left, an unsolved mystery for more than 500 years. This is the largest monolithic stone ever attempted by human hands, estimated at 42 m in length and weighing more than 160 tons, far surpassing any obelisk ever erected in Egypt's history. The project is believed to have been ordered by Queen Hatshepsut, but large cracks appeared during its creation, making it impossible to detach the stone from the bedrock. The artisans had no choice but to abandon the effort. The unfinished obelisk lies silent in the quarry, leaving behind one of the greatest enigmas of ancient construction. How could a stone of such colossal weight ever have been moved when it so far exceeds the capabilities of any known ancient transport system? Theories have ranged from sheer manpower and wooden rollers to sledges, pulley systems, or even water used to create a sliding surface. Yet, every theory encounters enormous obstacles when confronted with the true size of the stone. The challenge was not only to detach and move the obelisk, but to raise it upright in the center of an ancient city, an engineering feat that remains daunting even with modern machinery. The evidence of the unfinished work remains etched on the stone. Chisel marks, deep cracks, and even ancient stone tools left behind by the workers. Intriguingly, this obelisk was carved during the same period when the Tully Papyrus recorded a strange phenomenon. Fiery discs appeared repeatedly in the Egyptian sky, astonishing both the royal court and the people under Thutmose III. Both the obelisk and the mysterious sightings date to the very zenith of Egypt's power and technology, sparking new theories about the level of knowledge, organizational skill, and perhaps even outside influences present at the time. Could the construction of such monumental works have relied on technical means unknown to us today? The overlap between ancient engineering feats and inexplicable phenomena like the fiery discs continues to provoke debate, raising the possibility that the Egyptians had access to secrets we have yet to discover, or at the very least that their world remains full of mysteries still unsolved. The Roman cult. Beneath the soil of a parking lot in the town of Spello, central Italy, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a 4th century temple, shedding new light on the shifting religious landscape of late Roman Empire. This sanctuary was not built for the traditional gods such as Jupiter or Minerva, but rather dedicated to the cult of the emperor's ancestors, a unique form of worship tied directly to the absolute power of the Roman imperial family. According to historical records, in the 4th century, Emperor Constantine issued a decree allowing the citizens of Spello to celebrate festivals honoring the imperial family locally rather than traveling to the major cities where royal temples stood. In return, the people were required to build a dedicated temple for the veneration of the emperor's ancestors. This discovery provides direct evidence that local communities were actively integrated into the imperial cult system, helping reinforce the legitimacy and power of Constantine's dynasty during a time of sweeping social change in Roman society. What makes this site especially noteworthy is the period in which it was built, a time of transition between two great systems of faith. Even as Constantine embraced Christianity as the official religion of the empire, many traditional pagan practices continued side by side with Christian rituals. The temple at Spello is a clear testament to this transitional period when the legacies of old beliefs still held a vital role in community life. Although only 3 walls of the sanctuary remain, they indicate a once large complex built for ceremonies honoring the emperor and his forebears. The discovery of this ancient place of worship beneath a modern parking lot powerfully underscores the intersection of past and present and highlights the importance of archaeology in illuminating pivotal moments in the story of Western civilization. The continued existence of an imperial cult temple alongside the earliest Christian churches reveals the complex process of religious change in ancient Rome, a place where old and new traditions merged, creating the distinct character of a society in flux. In this way, the site at Spello is more than just an archaeological relic. It stands as living proof of the way faith and power shaped the fabric of late Roman society, cities, and ancient architecture of Greece, Rome, the Maya, Egypt, and Scotland. In the waters around the island of Ponza, Italy, underwater archaeology has revealed the remains of a sprawling complex that once served as a retreat for the Roman elite. Lavish villas stood right at the water's edge, while the ruins of fish farms still linger in the sea caves. Walls, tanks, and wave barriers, bearing witness to Roman ingenuity. Archaeological layers show that the Romans not only designed these villas for religious and aesthetic pleasure, but also systematically exploited the marine environment to supply their daily food and needs. Fragments of reliefs and decorative mosaics, once symbols of opulence, now lie scattered across the seabed, painting a vivid picture of the lifestyle, labor, and faith of the Mediterranean upper class before the fall of Rome. Beneath the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean, the palace complex of Alexandria, where Cleopatra once reigned, still guards its massive granite columns, ancient city walls, and the foundations of the Temple of Isis. The archaeological record reveals a vast architectural system built from materials brought down the Nile, inextricably linked to religious rituals, royal power, and the art of ancient Egypt. A great earthquake in the 4th century pulled the city beneath the sea, burying its legacy, but also preserving a unique cultural cross-section of Greco-Egyptian history. The site serves not only as a window into construction techniques and sculpture, but also into social organization and spiritual life during Egypt's final royal dynasty. In Central America, exploration of Maya coastal cities has revealed an ancient world of salt production buried deep beneath the marshes. The remains of foundations, hearths, and ceramic tools used to boil seawater for salt crystallization show that this was once a major industrial center. Here, salt was produced and transported across the Maya kingdoms. Layers of sediment record the sea's rise, which eventually submerged the entire complex, preserving tools and materials in place, allowing researchers to reconstruct the scale and organization of an economy built on the riches of the sea. The trade and religious role of salt were intertwined with power, sacrificial ritual, and the daily life of coastal Maya communities. Off the coast of Scotland, marine archaeologists have discovered a stone circle similar to Stonehenge submerged beneath the waters of Orcan Bay. Archaeological evidence points to advanced stone-setting skills, with the circle aligned to the sun, likely connected to religious rites, burial, and the communal organization of Neolithic peoples. Regional geology shows that post-Ice Age sea level rise drowned the entire settlement and ceremonial center, leaving behind traces not only of construction techniques, but also of the social and spiritual consciousness embedded in early European culture. These sites form a chain linking the development of urban life, architectural artistry, manufacturing organization, burial ritual, and the ways people adapted to their environments across the Mediterranean, Central America, Northern Europe, and Africa. Geological strata, material remnants, ceremonial objects, and structures drowned by natural or human-caused upheaval all tell the story of humanity's engineering, beliefs, adaptability, and ultimate limitations in the face of nature's challenges. Underwater archaeology not only restores the look of lost cities, but also reweaves the threads connecting material heritage, social organization, and the landscape, offering us a far more vivid and immediate window into human history than any record left above ground. The River Witch Legend. Jenny Green Teeth. Legends of mysterious water-dwelling beings have been woven into the folk memory of many cultures, but few are as vivid as the English story of Jenny Green Teeth. She is often described as an old woman with moss-green skin, tangled hair, and razor-sharp teeth, living beneath the still surface of ponds and quiet streams. The fear of Jenny lingers in the minds of people in Staffordshire, where Doxy Pool sits surrounded by brooding hills, year-round mists, biting winds, and trees that cast deep shadows on bottomless waters. Jenny Green Teeth is more than a cautionary tale for restless children or a warning for the elderly not to wander near the water at dusk. In 1949, a witness named Florence Pettit claimed to have seen a dark green figure with wet hair and a twisted face rising from the depths of Doxy Pool only to disappear into the morning mist. While many believe such encounters are simply illusions brought on by fog and cold water, these stories are far from rare, especially in the rural corners of Britain. This archetype of the destructive water witch or river goddess is not unique to England. In Russia and Eastern Europe, there is the Rusalki, the spirits of drowned young women, pale green, and forever drawing the living into the water. In Japan, the Kappa, a human-like turtle demon with a taste for drowning passers-by, shares a similar role. Even in Australia, the tale of the bunny pip, and in the Caribbean, the legend of River Muma have kept local communities wary of still, deep waters. The similarities among these tales raise the question of their true origins. Are Jenny Green Teeth and her kin simply the products of humanity's instinctive fear of the wild? Or do they reflect real dangers that once lurked by the water's edge? Some researchers believe the water witch legend developed as a way to warn children away from hazardous places. But it is also possible that rare natural phenomena inspired sightings that seemed supernatural. No scientific proof exists to confirm any of these stories yet. The legend of Jenny Green Teeth and her sisters remains an enduring part of humanity's collective subconscious. Ancestor worship and the exhumation rituals in Jordan. Discoveries in the Zarqa River Valley of northern Jordan have shed new light on the transformation of human society in the Neolithic era about 10,000 years ago. Archaeologists found stone artifacts shaped like human figures carved in a style reminiscent of violins. Experts believe these were not tools, but human figurines, likely representing deceased family or community members. These figurines were uncovered alongside evidence of rituals involving the exhumation and reurial of human remains. Many body parts from old graves had been unearthed, processed, and then reuried together with the figurines. This complex ritual suggests a sophisticated belief in the afterlife and highlights the role of ancestors in the spiritual life of these early people. The ceremonies included displaying, venerating, or even reassembling the bones of the dead, emphasizing the unbroken link between the living and previous generations. The appearance of human figurines in ancient art marks an important shift from hunter-gatherer societies to the earliest stages of settled agriculture. This change fostered new forms of ancestor worship, making human effigies a key part of ritual and culture. For the first time, people placed themselves at the center of symbolic life, gradually replacing animal motifs that had dominated previous eras. This discovery has helped researchers trace the path of belief, art, and social structure, revealing a crucial moment when humanity began redefining its place within nature, community, and the spiritual world. The language of a forgotten civilization in Spain. At the archaeological site of Cases del Turnual in southern Spain, researchers unearthed a unique stone tablet inscribed with ancient characters and images of two warriors directly linked to the legendary civilization of Tartessos. Such artifacts are exceedingly rare. Most Tartessian sites have only yielded ceramics, ruins, or metal objects with almost no written language surviving. What makes this tablet remarkable are the strange symbols on its surface belonging to an ancient script that has yet to be deciphered. Linguists believe this could be the alphabet of the Tartessians, possibly predating the spread of Latin writing across the Iberian Peninsula. The discovery of a text with such distinctive signs raises hopes of restoring some part of the language, as well as understanding Tartessos' connections with Phoenician, Greek, and Roman cultures. The two warriors depicted are more than decorative. They hint at social structure, values, and the warrior cult at the heart of this lost civilization. Ancient Greek texts describe Tartessos as a prosperous empire at the far edge of the world, rich in precious metals and trading throughout the Mediterranean. Many modern scholars even call Tartessos the Atlantis of Spain due to its mysteries and sudden disappearance. Yet the process by which it declined and vanished remains unclear, as few original texts or artifacts survive, leaving later generations to rely on legends and scattered archaeological finds. The Casus Deluru tablet is a breakthrough for both archaeology and linguistics. It provides hope for recovering real knowledge about a civilization once celebrated as a center of trade, art, and power in the Western Mediterranean. Should this alphabet be successfully deciphered, it could answer major questions about the origins, international ties, spiritual life, and downfall of Tartessos, allowing a lost chapter of human history to be written anew. Discoveries in living and survival techniques. Throughout history, underwater archaeological finds have revealed the remarkable adaptability and technical ingenuity of ancient people in different environments. A pair of ice skates made from cattle bone found in an ancient tomb in Xinjiang, China, shows how people thrived in cold climates 500 years ago. Not only did they use animal resources, but they also invented practical tools for movement, hunting, and survival on snow and ice. These simple skates, drilled for straps and with flat bottoms for gliding over natural ice, saved energy and expanded mobility in winter. The discovery even suggests technological exchange between ancient Asian and European groups, as the design closely resembles archaeological finds from Europe of the same period. On the Alaskan coast, a series of stone fish traps lying more than 170 feet underwater provides some of the earliest evidence of indigenous peoples' understanding of animal behavior and hydrology dating back 11,000 years. Rows of semicircular stones were strategically arranged to funnel fish into traps as the tide rose and fell, maximizing food supply in harsh conditions and supporting permanent communities along the sea. These discoveries show organizational skill, shared hunting knowledge, and the clever use of natural forces to sustain life. Far from the icy north, adaptation is also seen in the Inuit story of the frozen feces knife. Though modern experiments have debunked its effectiveness, the tale reveals a mindset of creative survival in scarcity. Arctic hunter-gatherer tribes constantly experimented with new materials, and every innovation successful or not added to the body of survival knowledge. At the cutting edge of modern creativity, projects like the artificial iceberg submarine have been proposed to tackle global climate change. The concept aims to manufacture blocks of ice from seawater to help restore melting Arctic ice, stabilize polar ecosystems, and slow rising sea levels. Although still theoretical, such ideas show the ongoing link between the past and the present. Each new invention is a human response to the challenges of nature. In Central America, traces of ancient Maya salt workshops beneath the mangrove swamps reveal expertise in controlling fire, knowledge of salt evaporation, pottery making, and the creation of regional trade networks by using marine resources to produce a key commodity. Maya city-states maintained both their economies and their status as commercial powers for centuries. All these findings contribute to our understanding of ancient material culture, where people continually adapted their ways of life, invented new tools, and turned practical experience into technology, leaving an indelible mark on the story of human progress. The Forgotten Goddess of War. In 2024, A chance discovery by a 13-year-old boy at the Shalala archaeological site near Carmel, Israel, offered a fresh glimpse into the role of women and the symbolism of war in the ancient Roman world. While walking with his father, the boy found an ancient bronze ring engraved with the image of Minerva. Archaeologists soon confirmed it as a classic depiction of the Roman goddess of war, celebrated as a symbol of wisdom, military art, and protector of warriors. What makes this artifact special is not only its artistic value, but also its social meaning. Researchers believe the ring likely belonged to an upper-class woman, reflecting status, and perhaps a desire for power, intelligence, or leadership in ancient society. This hints that in Roman-influenced provinces, symbols of the war goddess were not limited to men. They could also be personal emblems for women. Minerva in Roman culture shares many traits with the Greek goddess Athena. Both stand for strategy, wisdom, and leadership in war, unlike Ares or Mars gods, who represent brute force, violence, and open conflict. Minerva and Athena are revered for their ability to weigh situations, deploy cunning, and seek optimal outcomes, while Ares was often dismissed as reckless and unsuccessful. Minerva was honored for her balance of reason and action, shaping ideas about the value of intellect in the ancient world. The ring's discovery at a site that was once a Roman center of trade and settlement demonstrates the spread of Minerva's image. It gives scholars new evidence to reconstruct the status of women and cultural values during Rome's imperial peak. The ring is more than an artifact. It is a reminder of the diversity of power symbols and the deep connection between war, wisdom, and society across the ancient Mediterranean world. The mystery of pyramid power. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just an eternal symbol of ancient Egyptian civilization. It is also the subject of countless theories about hidden powers that stretch far beyond its accepted role as a royal tomb. The latest discovery of a model pyramid cap, a metal sphere more than 6 feet in diameter, believed to have once sat atop the original structure, has reignited debate about the true purpose of the pyramids in both history and ancient science. Modern simulations suggest that if this metallic orb did exist, it was likely more than just decoration. It could be the key to unexplained physical phenomena, especially those connected to the enduring theory of the pyramid's preservative power. The idea that the pyramid's shape could generate a special kind of energy first gained traction in the 20th century, sparked by unexpected experimental results. In the 1930s, French researcher Antoine Bovis claimed to have found the corpses of animals inside the Great Pyramid preserved without decay. His reports inspired a wave of experiments to test the structure's ability to preserve food, suppress bacteria, or even affect the mental state of people or objects placed within scale model pyramids. Later studies by scientists in Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union examined whether the pyramids could keep razor blades sharp, dehydrate food, or stabilize bioenergetic fields. While the results remain controversial and no scientific research has definitively proven the existence of a pyramid energy beyond normal physical effects, the strange preservation observed inside the pyramid continues to raise questions. Perhaps it is the unique geometry and precise geographic location that create rare physical conditions still not fully understood. The supposed presence of a metal sphere at the pyramid's peak only deepens the theory that the entire structure might have functioned as a resonator for energy or even as an advanced device with practical uses far beyond that of a tomb. From ancient chronicles to modern experiments, the controversy over pyramid power reflects not only humanity's endless curiosity about achievements far ahead of their time, but also the limitations of scientific knowledge in every era. The question of whether the Great Pyramid is simply a masterpiece of architecture, or whether it contains a lost technological wisdom, remains a compelling mystery that continues to drive new generations to search and unlock its secrets. Archaeological discoveries. Thanks to burrowing rabbits on a Scottish isle. Archaeological exploration on Sco Island off the coast of Wales is a prime example of how major scientific discoveries sometimes spring from the most unexpected sources in nature. With only 2 permanent residents and most of its land dedicated to the protection of sea life and migratory birds, the island is mostly left undisturbed. Yet, it was the burrowing of wild rabbits that accidentally revealed layers of buried relics thousands of years old. Archaeologists were alerted when conservation staff on the island noticed unusual fragments at the entrances of rabbit burrows. Upon examination, researchers identified these as Mesolithic stone tools dating back 6,000 to 9,000 years. Alongside these, burial pottery from the Bronze Age, nearly 3,750 years old, was also found in the same soil layer. Stratigraphic analysis shows that Skoma was once home to hunter-gatherers during the Stone Age, later giving rise to an early farming community during the Bronze Age, which likely built burial sites and settled on the island for longer periods. Finds such acerary pottery, shell tools, grinding stones, and the remains of ancient house foundations beneath the present soil all confirm that Skoma holds a palimpsest of overlapping cultures across millennia. What makes this discovery remarkable is that it came about entirely thanks to wildlife. Rabbit tunnels cut through ancient earth layers, exposing archaeological evidence that would have been very difficult for humans to reach through ordinary excavation. As a result, Skoma has become a focus of study for both archaeologists and ecologists, helping reconstruct the transition from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to settled agriculture on the coastal fringes of northwestern Europe. These finds prove that small islands are important not only for biodiversity, but also as time capsules for human history, where shifts in culture and environment are deeply embedded in the island's natural strata and geological memory. Viking superspreaders. Recent genetic research has provided clear evidence of the Vikings' role in the global spread of smallpox. DNA analysis from ancient remains buried at former Viking settlements and stopover points across Europe has revealed traces of the ancient variola virus in human bones. This discovery not only confirms that the Vikings once carried the disease, but also pinpoints the period when Smaleks began to proliferate across the continent, closely tied to their waves of migration, raids, and trade between the 7th and 11th centuries, with a vast network of movement stretching from northern to eastern Europe, across the Mediterranean, and even to North America. The Vikings created continental trade corridors that connected previously isolated civilizations. The exchange of goods, slaves, precious metals, and luxury items turned these routes into arteries of not only commerce but also of disease transmission. Genetic data shows that Smaleks cases appeared simultaneously in multiple regions across Eurasia during the era when Viking influence was expanding, reshaping the epidemiological landscape of the medieval world. These findings broaden our understanding of proto-globalization under the great empires, highlighting how commerce, migration, and war facilitated the movement of dangerous viruses far beyond their original boundaries. This phenomenon not only reflects the increasing interconnectedness of ancient societies, but also exposes the vulnerability of early communities to biological threats they could not control. Thanks to this research, scientists today can retrace the historical spread of disease, shedding light on the complex interactions between people, the environment, and pathogens throughout human civilization. A lost civilization beneath China. Beneath the ground in Jiangsu province. The long caves discovered in 1992 have become one of China's greatest archaeological mysteries. The story began when a group of local farmers drained a fish pond, revealing a vast underground system that had been submerged for centuries. What drew particular attention was the scale and complexity far beyond anything known from the same era in this region. A total of 24 large caves have been recorded, each with sloping vate ceilings and meticulously carved pillars supporting structures that have remained stable for an astonishing length of time. Excavations uncovered Han Dynasty artifacts confirming human activity about 2,000 years ago. However, these finds only inform us about later use, not the original construction date. This raises questions. Did the Han truly create these monumental spaces? Or were they inheriting a legacy left behind by an even older civilization? Construction techniques are the heart of the debate. The walls, arches, and especially the smooth squared stone columns suggest a level of technical skill well beyond that of any known ancient society in China. The unity of the carved surface patterns, the spatial precision, and the structural engineering all point to professional builders or a culture with an extraordinary understanding of large-scale subterranean architecture. Yet, there is no historical record or folk memory describing the construction of these caves. No clear evidence has emerged about their original function. No ritual materials, permanent dwellings, or signs of large-scale community activity have been found. This absence of evidence strengthens the idea of a lost civilization, one with advanced technology that vanished without leaving its mark on the flow of Chinese history. Longyu presents a host of unanswered questions about the identity, motivations, and historical circumstances behind the construction of these immense underground works. Mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. It is precisely this enigma that keeps the Longyu Caves a captivating subject for both scholars and the public fascinated by the unknown. The mysterious stone figures of Bata Valley. Indonesia. Bata Valley on the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia, is one of Southeast Asia's most extraordinary archaeological sites, known for its unique human-shaped menhir statues that fuel debates about prehistoric technology, beliefs, and cultural history. More than 400 men are scattered across the valley, most carved in human likeness with oversized heads and facial features. Eyes, nose, mouth, yet lacking arms and legs. Many statues bear additional symbolic marks, deepening the mystery of their cultural or ritual meaning. In addition to the meanies, archaeologists have documented the presence of enormous stone vats, some with elaborately carved lids featuring animal motifs or abstract designs dotted throughout the grasslands. These vats are large enough to hold a human body, prompting speculation that they once served for burial rituals, sacrifices, or as repositories for valuable community objects. One intriguing detail is that the stone used for both the menhirs and the vats is not native to Ba Valley, implying that ancestors had to transport the material from distant locations. This points to an advanced level of social organization and transport technology far beyond what is usually attributed to hunter-gatherer societies, and it suggests broad networks of interaction between ancient communities in the region. Archaeological, geological, and radiocarbon studies propose that some of these meanies may be as much as 5,000 or even 12,000 000 years old, possibly dating back to a civilization that existed before the last ice age and ancient floods. The similarities in style and function between the Bard Menors and the statues of Easter Island, as well as other megalithic sites around the globe, raise questions about the diffusion, contact, or parallel evolution of prehistoric cultures on a worldwide scale. From the origin of materials and carving techniques to the methods of transportation and ritual significance, the Bad Men are a testament to creativity, social organization, and local beliefs, but also act as a genetic code, marking the great milestones of early human development. Ongoing modern research continues to decode the origins, functions, and social roles of the monumental stones and vats in Bada. These findings not only affirm the archaeological and historical value of the site, but also highlight the diversity and complexity of ancient Southeast Asian civilizations, deepening global awareness of the importance of preserving and investigating humanity's extraordinary heritage. Lost ancient treasure. The discovery of a Bronze Age hoard in Wales has opened up new perspectives on the material life, beliefs, and social organization of communities that lived more than 3 millennia ago. With the help of modern metal detecting technology, an amateur archaeologist uncovered a collection of artifacts, including large spearheads, axe fragments, sheets of bronze, and other small items, all buried together in a single pit, far from any known settlement remains. An analysis of the site and the arrangement of the objects suggests that this was not simply a stash hidden away to protect it from theft or kept in reserve for a journey. The structure of the pit, the placement of the spearheads, and the layer of axes set on top all reveal clear ritualistic patterns. One theory is that the hoard represents the result of a sacrificial ceremony, expressing reverence to supernatural forces or guardian deities. In the context of the Bronze Age, weapons and metal tools were not only precious assets, but also seen as intermediaries between the human world and the divine. Burying these objects was a ritual offering an appeal for abundant harvests, peace, or a declaration of leadership and power. From an archaeological perspective, this find provides valuable experimental data on the bronze working techniques of ancient Western Europeans, helping to identify weapon and tool designs specific to each phase of cultural development. Comparing this treasure with similar hoards found in neighboring regions may also reveal patterns of trade, technical exchange, and relationships between communities across the broad landscape of Bronze Age Europe. The preservation and thorough study of this hoard not only restore a fragment of regional history, but also expand our understanding of collective behavior, the meaning of ritual, and the process that shaped early European civilizations. Legends of lost cities, mythology, and literature. As we explore the oceans and submerged lands, the boundary between scientific discovery and the human imagination often grows thin. Legends of sunken cities, ancient mythology, and modern literature constantly intertwine with archaeological reality, creating a symbolic world that stretches far beyond the visible. Take the city of Rhea in the fiction of H.P. Lovecraft. His vivid description of a mysterious metropolis deep beneath the Pacific Ocean is not only a product of his imagination. It also reflects an age-old fascination with civilizations that vanished from history. Lovecraft crafted R'lyeh as a realm of both dream and nightmare, where cosmic monsters sleep in non-human architecture, blending speculative archaeology with the hidden fears of the modern mind. His work didn't just define cosmic horror. It also fueled scientific curiosity about the unexplored deep, where the line between archaeological reality and speculation grows ever blurrier. The legend of Hollow Earth, too, has circulated for centuries with tales of gateways leading to another world beneath our feet at the poles. Reports of massive ice holes in Antarctica, the expeditions of Admiral Richard Byrd, and stories of mythical crystal cities all reveal how humans have shaped their worldview through imagination and the urge to explore. Although no physical evidence has ever been found, these tales leave a lasting imprint on our collective thinking about the unknown, inspiring generations to push the boundaries of knowledge. These themes are not confined to myth or fiction. Symbols such as the statue of Poseidon placed beneath the Caribbean serve as reminders of how modern people blend art, belief, and the natural world. These sea gods stand in the ocean not only as works of art, but as reminders of humanity's connection to the sea and our need to preserve both material and spiritual values. From imagined cities and unproven myths to symbolic works of art, the story of lost cities and underwater worlds is proof of human creativity without limits. Alongside the real archaeological finds raised from the depths, the heritage of imagination continues to expand, shining new light on humanity's distant past while laying the foundation for journeys still to come in science and culture. Nazi Germany's death ray weapons. In the final years of World War II, as the tide of battle turned against them, the Nazi scientific establishment plunged into projects that stretched the limits of imagination. Foremost among these was the plan to build a sun gun, a space weapon of global destructive power designed to concentrate solar energy using a giant mirror in orbit. The idea was based on blueprints by physicist Hermann Oth, the father of modern rocketry. His calculations called for a concave mirror nearly 3.5 kilometers wide to be placed in Earth orbit, focusing sunlight onto any target on the planet's surface and generating a beam powerful enough to incinerate a city within minutes. The Sun Gun project did not remain just a fantasy. In Germany's Hillis, Lebanon forest, about 150 engineers and physicists ran the first experiments, constructing models to test how well a reflecting surface could focus light and whether its aim could be controlled on a large scale. The envisioned structure would be assembled from many small polished metal panels joined on a steel frame rotating to follow orders from the ground. While the idea was not entirely new, legend has it that Archimedes used bronze mirrors to burn Roman warships besieging Syracuse. A story still debated today. The physics are sound. Sufficiently large mirrors, properly controlled, can focus sunlight into beams hot enough to ignite materials. If completed, this weapon could have become humanity's first instrument of space warfare, opening a new era of weapons based on cosmic energy. In reality, World War II ended before the project could overcome the immense technical and material barriers of the time. Yet, the Sun Gun continues to haunt imaginations, especially in today's era of the space arms race. As satellite technology, automation, and advanced materials progress, the boundary between theory and practice grows ever thinner. The story of Nazi Germany's death ray stands as a warning of the dangers posed by space-based weapons, where seemingly harmless physical principles can be turned to destructive purposes, raising profound challenges for ethics and global security. The Namibian shipwreck in the barren Namib Desert, a remarkable archaeological find, has transformed our understanding of global trade and ocean exploration in the early modern era. Researchers have pinpointed the wreck of the Bom Jesus, a 16th-century Portuguese trading ship, buried deep beneath the sands of coastal Namibia. The existence of this vessel marks a period of expanding global commerce and reflects the dangers faced by explorers on their voyages across the seas. The bomb Jesus was part of the trade route connecting Europe with the markets of Africa and Asia. Departing from Lisbon, carried precious cargo such as gold, copper, ivory, and other rare metals to serve the needs of global exchange. Barrels of copper and gold ingots still lying in the ship's hull provide physical evidence of large-scale trade between continents. The discovery of elephant tusks highlights Africa's key role in supplying luxury goods to European markets of the time. The burial of bomb Jesus under shifting sands was the result of geological changes and the harsh climate along Namibia's coast. Whether the ship ran ground or was destroyed in a storm, powerful currents carried debris deep inland. Over centuries, thick layers of sand covered the wreck and its treasure, protecting them from environmental decay and human interference. As a result, many of the artifacts have remained nearly intact, preserving immense historical and archaeological value. The discovery of bomb Jesus confirms the pivotal role of Portuguese fleets in opening transcontinental shipping lanes and reveals the hazardous high-stakes nature of pre-industrial maritime trade. Excavations have revealed the ship's structure, its treasure, weapons, and trade goods, offering a direct look at shipbuilding techniques, logistics, and the rise of global trade in the 16th century. Through the story of bomb Jesus, researchers now have a new tangible source to reconstruct the voyages, trading networks, and transformative social and economic changes linking Europe, Africa, and Asia in the early days of globalization. The convergence of treasure, goods, and technology on a ship now buried in desert sands is a vivid testament to a tumultuous age when the ocean was both bridge and ultimate obstacle for humanity's drive to expand its world. Prehistoric giants of Britain and the origins of Jack and the Beanstalk. Legends of giants who once ruled ancient Britain endure in folklore and historical records surviving across thousands of years. Chroniclers of the 16th century, such as Raphael Holinshed, recorded tales of a race called the Albion's Giants, said to be the prehistoric kings of this land, leading a tribe that dominated the limestone hills and misty shores. These stories are more than mere products of the imagination. They are woven into old epics where heroes like Jack and the Beanstalk symbolize the clever small human who outwits giant strength. A metaphor for humanity's triumph over overwhelming odds. Such tales are not limited to England alone. Marco Polo wrote of encountering giants in Zanzibar during his African travels. The Hebrew Bible in books like Genesis and Samuel also records races of giants Nephilim and Rephaim said to have lived in the ancient Near East, deepening the global mythology of a race of superhuman beings. In the 20th century, explorers like Glenn D. Kittler continued to collect accounts of people of unusual stature in Congo's dense forests, further blurring the boundary between legend and fact. Modern science has brought a new perspective. Anthropologists and paleontologists have discovered Denisovan bones in Siberia's Denisova cave. Morphological and genetic analysis reveals that Denisovans had larger, more robust bodies than classic Homo sapiens with hand and jawbones of exceptional size, hinting at a human species of notable height and strength. Some scholars suggest that waves of prehistoric migration may have carried denizen genes as far west as Europe, where genetics and folk memory fused into enduring legends of giants. From local myths to explorer accounts and fossil discoveries, the story of giants reflects both the richness of human imagination and the possibility that such legends arose from real historical and biological events. The image of Jack climbing the beanstalk to confront a world of giants endures as a metaphor for the ingenuity, creativity, and victory of humanity as we face challenges far beyond our ordinary limits. Submarine volcanoes, ice holes, and underwater waterfalls. The geological and natural phenomena hidden deep beneath the ocean floor or under ancient ice sheets remain some of modern science's greatest challenges. In the Western Pacific, the submarine volcanoes of the Mariana Arc are a prime example of geological forces at work beyond traditional observation. Since the discovery of unusual signals from the seafloor using seismic and sonar equipment, scientists have relied on unmanned exploration vehicles and remote sensing data to monitor volcanic activity. Yet, the great depth and crushing pressure make direct observation nearly impossible. Everything beneath the waves is shrouded in darkness and unpredictable material flows. Submarine eruptions affect deep-sea ecosystems, release enormous amounts of heat and chemicals, and can disrupt shipping routes while triggering further geological processes in the planet's deepest trench. Meanwhile, large ice holes called polinas sometimes appear suddenly in Antarctica, opening stretches of open water amid the otherwise unbroken sea ice. These polinas result from a combination of ocean currents, strong winds, and abrupt temperature changes at the surface, causing the ice to crack and melt across vast areas. Such phenomena can last weeks or months, reshaping local microclimates and altering both atmospheric circulation and deep-sea currents. Pole liners impact the unique flora and fauna of the polar regions and serve as markers of global climate change, raising questions about the modern ice water cycle in Antarctica. Off the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, a different spectacle occurs. The famous underwater waterfall optical illusion caused by fine sand pouring down the steep ocean slope from above. This sand flow appears as a massive waterfall plunging into a deep chasm. While the phenomenon is nothing more than the movement of sediment under tidal influence, it creates a striking impression of scale and energy and highlights the ongoing processes of oceanic deposition. It also poses challenges for seabed mapping, coastal resource management, and maritime safety. Each of these phenomena is a product of complex natural laws and represents potential natural disasters from volcanic eruptions and climate shifts to marine accidents. The ability to study and accurately predict these events continues to depend on advances in deep-sea technology, geological modeling, and multidisciplinary data applications, all aimed at minimizing risks for coastal communities and deepening our understanding of the blue planet in a new century. Sunken cities in China, Thailand, Tennessee, and Argentina, beneath the still waters of Fuxian Lake in China's Yunnan province. Huge stones, terraces, and remnants of foundations silently emerge from the mud. Underwater archaeology has revealed the lost architectural remains of the city of Yuan, a metropolis mentioned only briefly in historical records from the Qin and Han dynasties until the Tang, after which it vanished from written memory. Sediment layers point to a once flourishing city with networks of homes, roads, and stone structures, some even resembling pyramids, all now lying 10 m below the lake surface, raising questions about a possible geological disaster or sudden event that erased it from history. Far from China, on the northern plains of Thailand, the Buddhist monument Wat Tilak Aram, constructed in the 15th century, now consists only of foundations and scattered stones at the bottom of a reservoir. Centuries of endurance were erased by a modern decision. A dam project transformed sacred land into a lake, submerging 11 historical sites and thousands of years of history. Underwater research has mapped the arrangement of bricks and the remnants of ancient religious rituals, providing a detailed picture of Southeast Asian Buddhist architecture where religion, politics, and nature are intertwined. In North America, towns such as Liston and other communities were submerged beneath artificial lakes during the 1930s when the U.S. government built massive dams for flood control and hydroelectric power. Centuries-old settlements vanished almost overnight, leaving only foundations, streets, and relics beneath the water. Houses, ruined buildings, churches, and cemeteries still lie below, forming a unique archaeological record of large-scale population displacement in modern American history. On the Mediterranean coast, marine archaeology has also uncovered a sunken lane village. Under the shallow waters of Israel, a Stone Age freshwater well remains intact, filled with traces of daily life, animal bones, tools, ashes, pottery fragments, all frozen in time after the land was overtaken by the sea. The layered remains of ancient habitation now rest beneath the waves, bearing witness to the shifting sea levels after the Ice Age. Whether the causes were earthquakes, landslides, climate events, or modern engineering, the common thread among these sunken cities and towns is their power to preserve a cross-section of the past, recording architecture, lifestyles, and ancient environments. Underwater archaeology now allows direct access to the living spaces, beliefs, and environmental changes faced by these early communities, bringing us closer to the story of urban development and the challenges nature and humanity have always shared throughout civilization. The stone wall of the Stone Age beneath the Baltic Sea. The ancient stone wall beneath the Baltic Sea has drawn keen attention in underwater archaeology and paleoecology, raising questions about the engineering, society, and environment of Stone Age communities. In 2021, a research team led by Jacob Giron at the Linnaeus Institute for Baltic Sea Research used advanced multi-beam sonar to scan the seabed and discovered a stone structure hundreds of meters long lying several kilometers offshore. The wall is made up of large stones stacked in undulating rows, some sections continuous, others broken with an average height of about 1 meter and individual blocks weighing several tons. Preliminary analysis suggests the wall is as much as 11,000 years old, dating to the post-Ice Age period, when the area was dry grassland before rising seas flooded the region. The wall is strikingly similar to desert kites in the Middle East, stone structures used to funnel wild animals toward communal hunting traps. However, unlike the desert kites, no trace of ancient inhabitants, stone tools, animal bones, or campfires has been found nearby. This absence of supporting evidence leaves the purpose and social organization behind the Baltic Wall in question. The greatest puzzle is how Stone Age hunter-gatherers could have transported and assembled hundreds of massive stones without wheeled vehicles, metal tools, or mechanical assistance. One theory is that the wall was built by people specializing in reindeer hunting and designed to herd migrating animals toward traps. But the lack of archaeological evidence means this remains unproven. Some experts suggest the wall could be the legacy of a prehistoric civilization with social structure and technical skills beyond our current understanding. Even drawing comparisons to famous megalithic sites in Europe and the Middle East. To date, no similar structures have been found elsewhere in Europe. Adding to the mystery, researchers are continuing to use underwater archaeology, sediment analysis, and dating methods to search for clues about the wall's age, construction, and purpose. This discovery broadens our understanding of Stone Age adaptability and organizational ability, and raises new hypotheses about the rise and disappearance of Europe's coastal societies as they faced global climate change. The legendary city of Darura in Hinduism. Underwater archaeological research off the coast of the Gulf of Cam has confirmed the existence of a complex of submerged architectural ruins dated to around 900 B.C. This site is closely linked to the legend of the city of Dara as told in the epic Mahabharata, a city said to have been founded and ruled by the god Krishna only to be swallowed by a catastrophic natural disaster. Findings from pottery shards, stone structures, foundation remains, and household artifacts at the site provide multiple points of comparison with India's prehistoric cultural layers. However, because it has not been possible to precisely date the largest architectural blocks, the true timeline for this city remains a matter of ongoing debate. The artifacts recovered from the seabed sediments indicate the existence of a major urban community developing in parallel with the ancient cities of the Ganges Plain. These initial results suggest that the legends of mythical cities in Hindu literature may be rooted in real historical events, locations, and climate upheavals in the region's past. This discovery calls into question the boundaries between religious memory and archaeological fact. The realization that a city long thought to be mythical may have actually existed only to be lost in an environmental catastrophe lends weight to the theory that many epic motifs and ancient myths reflect real events. Natural disasters, population shifts, and the rise and fall of urban centers. Though much remains to be verified, Dara is now a focal point for interdisciplinary research connecting archaeology, paleontology, myth studies, and ancient South Asian climate change, prehistoric civilizations beneath the sea. Archaeological discoveries on the floors of the English Channel and the Black Sea have profoundly changed our understanding of prehistoric human habitation in Europe and neighboring regions. Using modern technology to survey the seafloor, scientists have uncovered numerous sites with clear evidence of ancient human life, including house foundations, wooden piles, barriers, pottery shards, flint tools, and the remains of structures once belonging to communities that lived along ancient lands, now entirely submerged. In the English Channel, the area that now separates Britain from mainland Europe was once the vast plain of Doggeran between 506. 500 years ago, this was a landscape of rivers, lakes, forests, and grasslands, ideal for thriving hunter-gatherer groups. Evidence such as stone tools, blades, bone fragments, house-like structures, fences, hunting grounds, and hearths all paint a picture of a vibrant, active society. Analysis of ancient pollen, plant remains, and animal bones has helped reconstruct the ecosystem of that era. As the last ice age ended and sea levels rose, water inundated the land, forcing ancient people to adapt, migrate to higher ground, or disperse into Western Europe, Britain, and Scandinavia. The entire Dogland culture was eventually submerged, leaving only traces buried beneath today's seabed. The Black Sea is also a critical archaeological zone with discoveries of prehistoric cultures that once thrived along its shores before being drowned by rising waters. Scientists have identified wooden ruins, stone foundations, domestic tools, pottery, and implements made of bone or flint. This archaeological evidence clearly shows that before the Black Sea reached its current size, the area was a fertile valley home to communities that farmed, herded animals, and hunted when Mediterranean waters rushed into the Black Sea some 7,500 years ago. A massive flood wiped out these settlements, forcing the population inland and spawning legends of great floods in the ancient Middle Eastern tradition. Findings from both regions are proof of dramatic climate, hydrological, and landscape changes after the Ice Age, confirming that today's submerged lands were once home to thriving, socially organized communities with their own technologies and artistic expressions. The rising sea levels accelerated migration and cultural mixing, laying the foundation for new cultures on land and helping shape the map of ancient human settlement. These discoveries also provide a scientific basis for global legends of sunken cities, lost lands, and civilizations drowned in folk memory. They supply models for studying the long-term effects of changing seas on the development, spread, and transformation of early human societies. The Los Atlantis Seamount off the Canary Islands. The Los Atlantis Seamount deep beneath the waters off the Canary Islands has become a major focus of deep-sea geology and a central figure in theories linking it to the legend of Atlantis. Using sonar mapping of the seabed, geologists have charted this massive undersea mountain, which features 3 large volcanic craters and covers nearly 50 kilometers in circumference. Sediment and stratigraphic analysis reveal that during the Eocene epoch about 56 million years ago, the summit of Los Atlantis actually rose above the surface, forming an isolated island group in the Atlantic Ocean. Prolonged volcanic activity helped create ancient beaches now preserved as sand layers 60 m below the waves, their traces still visible in the seamount's geological structure. The sinking of Los Atlantis is explained by the end of volcanic activity combined with the sheer weight of accumulated sediments and tectonic plate movement, which gradually lowered the islands relative to sea level. This process continued through multiple ice ages and interglacial periods, changing the region's appearance entirely. As the glaciers melted at the end of the last ice age, sea levels rose quickly, drowning all traces of ancient beaches and islands. Today, these fossil beaches survive only as sediment layers on the ocean floor, a silent record of the vibrant coastal ecosystem that once existed there. From an archaeological perspective, Los Atlantis stands as a real-world model for the origins of the Atlantis myth. As recorded by the Greek philosopher Plato more than 2 millennia ago, ancient texts describe Atlantis as a prosperous land beyond the Pillars of Hercules, that is outside the Mediterranean, a location matching today's Canary Islands. Plato wrote that Atlantis disappeared in a catastrophic flood, its civilization swallowed by the sea overnight. Modern geological evidence of Los Atlantis sinking during the end of the Ice Age aligns with ancient flood myths that appear in cultures from the Middle East to Europe. Multidisciplinary research suggests that the loss of vast coastal lands remembered in oral traditions over millennia could be the foundation for legends of vanished civilizations like Atlantis. In the case of Los Atlantis, the existence of ancient beaches and deep-sea sediments shows the area was once habitable, possibly even home to large animal populations, or at least in theory, prehistoric human communities. However, no artificial artifacts have yet been found to confirm human presence in more recent times. Today, Los Atlantis remains the subject of lively academic debate about the interplay between geology and human legend. Some scientists argue that global environmental upheaval and the disappearance of coastal regions due to rising seas created the real-life backdrop for stories of sunken civilizations. While much remains unproven, the case of Los Atlantis adds a new piece to the puzzle of historical truth behind ancient myths. underscoring the essential role of deep-sea geology in uncovering hidden chapters of our planet's past. If you find these mysterious stories fascinating, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming discoveries.